March, yeah, about a year ago. Yeah, very well attended. The folks were very impressed with what we were working on here. We created art fund, providing seed money and a mechanism for arts partners to leverage city dollars and arts initiatives. We participated in the Aerotropolis Airport Alliance area blueprint development process, which positions Hapeville as a leader, leveraging catalytic sites in the community for future investment. We continued our partnership initiatives to develop the city's underused development authority properties such as Dearborn Plaza, and we have a project that got off the ground late last year, first part of this year, that's going to put something on the front part of that Dearborn Plaza property. Goals for 2016 continue to seek grants, managing incentive programs, leveraging public-private partnerships and resources to attract new business. Continue our cultural arts projects and arts destination and tourism goals. Improvement of our development process, including a one-stop shop concept in business services and PR and communications improvements. Continue a focused effort to create a new charter high school for Hapeville. This is something that's been in the works. The charter was withdrawn at the 11th hour last year. There has been a charter submitted for this cycle. Fulton County is going through some shakeups right now. There's a new superintendent that's been selected. He hasn't started yet. Ken Zeff, who is the acting superintendent, was the chief innovation officer over charters, so I'm not sure if he's going to go back into that role or not. So we were not informed that there was any problem with the structure of our charter. So that's good news so far. So keep your eyes and ears open on that. Our Main Street Board of Directors 2015 highlights and 16 goals. Volunteers worked on events including a successful film series, merchant mixers, gallery crawl, and hosted a new business meet and greet there. On our goals for 2016, to continue to work with South Arts and ARC for grants, to align plan and trainings with the national program for Main Street, and to improve our business services program. Under planning and zoning, 2015 highlights, we were awarded an LCI study funding. We fast-tracked the Solis Hotel project for approval. We've been working on bringing zoning into compliance with the Fair Housing Act, reshaping the adult entertainment ordinance. We adopted a new arts overlay district ordinance, initiated essential revisions to the architectural design standards, and goals for 2016 are to re-adopt the official zoning map, coordinate the comprehensive plan update and LCI study, to re-adopt the architectural design standards, expedite approval for all applications, rezoning, variances, appeals, special use permits, site plans, design review, occupational tax permits, and signs. Under our administration department, we updated, in 2015, we updated the benefit guide, processed 157 positions for application, completed open enrollment for our full-time employees and retirees, kept the city website updated. The city clerk position, continued training to maintain the clerk certification, organize the city's permanent files. We're hoping in the long run with our IT rollout to go paperless at some point, but that's a dream, but that's something that we're moving towards in the not too distant future. Kept the code of ordinances codified, processed 15 service board applications, processed 203 open records requests, and held qualifications for our municipal election. 2016 goals: to host training through the safety committee, review and recommend amendments to employee handbook and benefits guide, to continue the organization of our personnel files, to initiate a pay study, to initiate a new pension board, continue, the new pension board's in place already, continue the document shredding program and retention program, continue training to maintain the city clerk's certification, organize the city's permanent files, and continue to codify our ordinances. Under finance, 2015 highlights, we restructured the budgeting system to integrate the Hapeville Association of Tourism and Trade and the Development Authority components into one software package. We use the Encode system for our citywide accounting, and Hapeville Association of Tourism and Trade and Development Authority were bifurcated in a separate piece of software, and it made audit time very difficult. So those have all been brought under one piece of software. We were awarded the National Achievement Certificate for Outstanding Reporting from GFOA. We have improved our internal controls further by training, staffing, documentation of transactions, separation of duties. In a small city, we've got a very small finance department. So one of the things we get noted on every year during our audit is separation of duties, because we have people wearing multiple hats. So with a small operation, we do everything that we can to follow the recommendation of the auditors and continue to, through training, to provide a clear separation of duties. We've prepared numerous financial reports and presentations to the City Council and to the public. The city's finances are in the black for the first time in 5 years. We prepared 2015-16 budget. We prepared the first break-even budget, not using any fund balance reserves for the first time in a while. So, made some great progress there. 2016 goals for the finance department are continue to improve the city's financial condition, increase revenues with new sources, revenue enhancements, continue training for county staff and city employees, continue to improve our timelines for financial reporting, and to implement the Citizen Chalkboard budget workshop that we will have in place as we move into the next year's budget process. One of the things that we ask for as a city is leadership and teamwork. We welcome community input. We're glad that as many of you came out tonight as you did, that you take the time to contact us with your concerns, email us your concerns and ideas. Because together with community input and we properly plan for our growth and we leverage the opportunities that we have opportunities facing us right now that this city's never seen. We've never had a headquarters of outside of Delta. We've never had a headquarters here in proximity like with Portia. So leveraging the opportunities that creates is very important for our future. That's why that hotel project I mentioned earlier is so important. And then we want to be professional in all things that we do. And working together, we can, through leadership and teamwork, we can bring this all together. This is kind of how it works. With our citizens, with our council, with our staffs, our boards and our committees, we create up there what was at the top right there, and that's a vibrant community. If you're not a vibrant community, you will not survive. We have an upcoming planning retreat that's coming up this Saturday. We can sit around as mayor and council and talk about goals and directions. It's going to be a facilitated retreat. We want to continue to work on improving our civic dialogue. We want to continue to work on improved advisory boards through training and communication, and to continue to expand our citizen partnerships, because we're all in this together. And there's your wonderful team. I'll say a special thank you to our city council for their hard work and dedication, and for everything you've done to help make Hapeville what it is. Thank you all very much. Thank you to staff for your dedication and your commitment and your hard work for this city. And to our wonderful citizens, without you, what's the point? So thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for being a part of your city. God bless you. All right, the next item we have is the Georgia City County Managers Association celebrating the 60th anniversary. Our city manager is a member of this organization, and council's had an opportunity to show its support for professional local government and management here in Georgia by the passage of this resolution. Do you have a copy of this resolution that I could read? I did not print before the agenda. Whereas the Georgia City County Management Association, whose acronym is GCCMA, is celebrating 60 years of service to Georgia's leaders, cities, and counties. And whereas GCCMA is the recognized affiliate organization of the International City County Management Association, ICMA. And whereas GCCMA, originally founded in 1956 by a small group of managers interested in professional development, has grown and expanded its membership to include Georgia's cities and county managers. and administrators, directors of regional development centers, and their principal assistants. And whereas GCCMA membership represents several state agencies in addition to the representatives of the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia and the Georgia Municipal Association. And whereas GCCMA is revered as the premier association of professional local government leaders, building sustainable communities to improve lives across Georgia. And whereas GCCMA's mission is to create excellence in local governance by fostering innovation, collaboration, mentoring, networking, continuing education, and other professional development opportunities. Whereas GCCMA provides a variety of member services, including a coaching program and 2 educational conferences each year, with programs emphasizing issues of special interest to Georgia managers. And whereas GCCMA members also have access to multiple training programs on special subject matters as part of GCCMA's commitment to continuing professional development. And whereas GCCMA has assisted professional local government managers in all areas of the state of Georgia in obtaining continued education and experience through scholarship and internship programs. Now therefore, I, Mayor Alan Hallman, do hereby recognize this Georgia City County Management Association's 60th anniversary in the year of 2016 and encourage all of our government leaders to recognize GCMA for the significant impact the organization has made and continues to make in Georgia's communities. So with that being said, it gives me great pleasure to sign that proclamation. All right, at this time we'll have general comments at the end of the meeting, but for any items that are on the agenda that we're going to be taking action on tonight, we welcome public comment at this time or questions. Starting on my right. Okay. Yeah, just push that button until the green light comes on. I'll turn it off.
Right. Good evening. Good evening. All right. I'm Carol Seaton, 3333 Burtle Street. Thank you for that good presentation. I enjoyed hearing that. We truly are a city on the rise, and we want to make it even better. We want to continue to see that growth and that get better in everything we're doing. So I'm speaking tonight on agenda item 7-4, the alcohol code amendment. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and 9 other citizens who met and talked about this proposal. We're requesting that this proposal not be approved. Our city is now in a black budget, but we're still struggling. And an expenditure of $10,000 for one part of our code seems very high to us indeed. We do need to do a rewrite. I know the code is convoluted and old, but we think there's some other possibilities that could accomplish the goal without spending as much money. One of the easiest and most efficient ways would be to work with MuniCode and use their alcohol ordinance. For those in the room who don't know what MuniCode is, it's a national nonprofit organization. They have code, they provide web hosting, they can do the codifications and recodifications. They work with many cities in Georgia, so you can go to their website and take a look. It would seem wise if we would use their code for this section, then they'd be available for other sections. And I noticed in some of your goals is rewriting, recodification of our code. So MuniCode would keep everything consistent throughout. So that would be our first recommendation. We can get an exact price for them, but I'm pretty sure it's less than $10,000 for this one section. An alternative to that, if for some reason we didn't want to use MuniCode, is we've already looked at several other cities in Georgia and their alcohol code. And Travis Horsley, who's the king of the spreadsheets, has already pulled a couple of those. It'd be easy to use that code for our own city code. Just like in looking at the agenda, we're using College Park for one of our ordinances. So we respectfully request that the council look at one of these options or anything else we come with before we vote to spend $10,000 for one little small section of our code when there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Amen.
Just as a point of reference, we reached out to our city attorney because we did know that we needed an alcohol rewrite. And we just said, could you give us a best and a worst case price? So it's actually on for discussion tonight, not action, because I too have been exploring other cities' codes, other cities' alcohol ordinances, and have forwarded the city council one of those ordinances. And I've encouraged council to look at those ordinances and see. I don't know that anybody else's is going to fit everything we need to do, but we can certainly find something out there that's close. So we will continue to discuss this because, again, the attorney, because what we talked about as a council was to say, okay, instead of an hourly, let's just get a flat rate, and that gave us a point of reference. So it's part of our ongoing process of reviewing this, so that we can come up with the best solution. So thank you for your input. Any other comments on agenda items?
This is on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just to, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for taking my comments this evening.
Identify yourself.
My name is Brendan Dalton, and I live at 3429 Rainy Avenue in Hapeville. My apologies. I'm not an accomplished public speaker. But just to follow up on the previous lady's comment, obviously there's some brand new municipalities that are in North Fulton County. For instance, Sandy Springs, Johns Creek, that have modern code that could perhaps be reviewed by our city attorney, and then that could be billed for the differences and the changes that are needed, and those may be among those that the mayor had considered. The second agenda item is item 5 on the agenda, which is the actual public comments, which the public comments on agenda items section preamble has changed. It now says, the public is encouraged to communicate their questions, concerns, and suggestions during public comments. However, state statute prohibits the city council from discussing an item that is not on the agenda. And then it goes on. I've looked around and I looked at the code section that requires agendas, and I looked at some case law, and I couldn't find any prohibition against the city council discussing an item that is not on the agenda. And this has very recently been put on the public comments on agenda items section within the last 3 months. And I'm not saying that this doesn't exist. I'm just wanting to be pointed in the right direction at some point. Because to my knowledge, the section of state code, which they're referring to as far as requiring agendas on public items, is OCGA 5014-1E1. Prior to any meeting, the agency or committee holding such meeting shall make available an agenda of all matters expected to come before the agency or committee at such meeting. The agenda shall be available upon request and shall be posted at the meeting site as far in advance of the meeting as reasonably possible, but shall not be required to be available more than 2 weeks prior to the meeting, and shall be posted at a minimum at some time during the 2-week period immediately prior to the meeting. And this is the sentence that I'm wondering exactly where there could possibly be a case that could actually bolster the preamble there, or the section heading. Failure to include on the agenda an item, quote, failure to include on the agenda an item which becomes necessary to address during the course of a meeting shall not preclude considering and acting upon such item. So I'm not saying that I couldn't be mistaken or there couldn't be something I'm missing. What I'm asking is for some clarification on that, and would love to learn something new.
Well, I think the purpose of the Sunshine Law and the Open Meetings Act and the agenda is so that you don't have a city council that doesn't put, well, let's say we really want to talk about raising your taxes 5 mils, but we don't put it on the agenda. So somebody reviewing the agenda goes, oh, it looks pretty boring, I'm not going to go to the meeting. Then we show up and start talking about raising taxes 5 mils. You see what I'm saying? So it's an opportunity for citizens to be clear as to what we're going to be discussing. And it could be the same thing for a citizen. The citizen could stand up and say, hey, I want to talk about you lowering our taxes 5 mils. Well, that wasn't on the agenda for us to discuss tonight. So it may be a bit of a stretch, but it's to avoid us from getting off on tangents that weren't part of the meeting structure.
Oh, I think if the mayor and council as the governing body don't want to address any issue, they don't have to. In fact, I'm not even sure that you guys have to take public comments. and I appreciate you guys taking them.
Well,
But the-
we used to just take general comments at the end, but a previous council member, I believe it was Susan Bailey, said, if we're gonna be voting on something, don't you think the public should have some input before we voted on it? Well, absolutely. So I think we try to go above and beyond.
Well, I
But
think that's fantastic, and I think that might be a slight mischaracterization, and I'm always wanting to learn, you know, and if some member of staff could let me know where there was some case law that actually suggested that there's a state statute that prohibits y'all from acting on something that comes up during the meeting, I'd like to see where that is. Second thing is actually an item number 7.3, first reading 2016, extended stay hotels. And my comments are going to be, I'm obviously not going to sit here and read the new sections. My comments are going to be limited to summaries that I've made, and I don't represent that this is any type of legal advice. This is my statement as a citizen, is what I see. Extended stay ordinance, summary. Overall, it does a poor job of maintaining the residential character of Hapeville because while it extends more standards to extended stay hotels, it also permits them in far more places. Sections 1 through 3 mainly define and dictate the standards, the new standards for an extended stay hotel, and I don't have too many problems with that. Section 4 isn't much of a change because here extended stay is allowed in the general commercial zoning classification just as it was before. Section 5 to me is problematic because this change allows hotels and extended stay hotels into, now this is that in the packet between pages I think 44 and 53. I may be a little bit off on that. So Section 5, it allows hotels and extended stay hotels into areas zoned residential mixed use, the RMU, where they were not allowed before. Section 6, 7, and 8 change extended stay hotel from a non-permitted use to a permitted use in the urban village. Section 6, 7, and 8 change hotel from a conditional use in the urban village to a permitted use in the urban village. Section 9 removes lot size restrictions and accessory uses restrictions on hotel extended stay high density developments in the commercial residential zone. Previously, the lot size restriction was 5 acres, and there was a 25% accessory use on developments of 6,000 square feet plus. It does not specifically permit hotel and extended stay any longer, but it does not preclude the city from allowing the use under 93-1-3A1B, which allows uses not specifically permitted, but substantially similar to other uses in the zone. So, what is billed as an extended stay ordinance that merely adds extra standards to extended stay, therefore limiting extended stay, actually does add some standards, but it also adds the footprint a great deal in terms of where you can put an extended stay hotel. And I'm not going to comment on because I feel like maybe at the next meeting there'll be ability, there's going to be an advertising, I guess, and there's going to be a hearing. And if there's some policy reasons why you might not want to have extended stay, then that in certain areas that could be commented on later. But the fact that this does expand the area was my only comment. And then maybe this could be refined to where we just get the standards and we keep the footprint the same. Thank you very much.
thank you, Mr. Butler. I would urge council and staff to continue to review this since it's our first reading.
Mr. Mayor, we'll address those questions during the presentation.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, any other comments on the agenda items, Travis?
Good evening.
State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Bob Patel. Actually, I'm part of the Epsilon Hotels group. Raj Patel is my partner. We own the Statebridge Suites as well as the Best Western across from the Porsche plant. And I wanted to make some comments on 7.3. First of all, thank you for allowing me the time to make my comments. we reviewed the standards that were proposed, and we have a few changes that we recommend from our expertise in the hotel business. So I'm gonna go down and explain our reasoning for it. One of the items in there is continental breakfast. I think it needs to be more than continental breakfast. Continental breakfast to us was back in the 80s, full cereal. I think it needs to say hot continental breakfast, so include eggs, protein, things like that. So a little bit more upscale. And I think what the mayor, council, the leadership is trying to do is bring an upscale brand to Hapeville. And with the development that we have going on with the Porsche, with the Solis Hotel and everything, I think that is exactly the direction, from our point of view, that we want to go as well. And I think that is something that we need to add in there. Second thing, the TV size is in there, recommending 42 inches. We're saying go bigger than that, 47 inches. As you see in residential TVs, the same thing is following in hospitality. About 5 years ago, the standard was 32-inch TV. Now all the brands are requiring 42-inch TV. And if we want this ordinance to, we don't want to change it every year, I think it's better to be proactive and go to 47-inch TV. Okay. The next thing, the minimum square foot of the room size, you have 480 square feet. We recommend 400 square feet. To give you an idea, a typical hotel room is about 320 square feet. The Statebridge Suites, our basic room type, is 416 square feet. So I think 400 square feet, and I don't know how many people have actually seen the Statebridge Suites. We had to make those rooms a little bit bigger because of the structural restrictions that we had. But 400 square feet is a significant increase over a typical hotel room. So I think 400 square feet is a good size of hotel room. Again, we don't want to, it's an extended stay, but we don't want to make it where people are staying there for, you know, their apartments.
Right.
Okay, you don't want to make it, and when you make it bigger and bigger, I think that's what it turns out to be. Extended stay in our eyes is 7 to 14 days, okay? So we don't want somebody staying there for months at a time or years at a time. The last thing is the size of the hotel. The recommendation was 150 units. We recommend 100 units. Just because the size of the rooms is increasing, you know, that takes up a lot more square footage. You know, 100 rooms at 320 square feet is a lot less than 100 rooms at 400 square feet. They also, in the recommendations, you have a requirement for 2 meeting rooms. You're gonna require full breakfast. That requires additional seating and everything. So when you take all that into account, the square footage of the building increases dramatically because of the room sizes and everything. So we highly recommend 100 rooms. The other portion of that is we were in the hotel business during the great economic recession, okay? And the way we looked at it, we were one of the lucky ones to survive. And in order to survive, you gotta be ready to tighten your belt, okay? And when you make a project too big, when you over leverage yourself, I don't think anybody in the city or even the citizens would want an empty building sitting there or a bank foreclose on it and not maintain it, and then we have an eyesore in the city. And I think a 100-room size hotel is something that if we ever have that downturn, that realistically, majority of the owners will be able to survive and make it work by tightening their belt. So I don't think we should over leverage ourselves and make it too big. And the last thing on the 100-room hotel, we, the FAA height restrictions, since we're so close to the airport, that comes into play as well. So you can't just go higher. there's a limit you'll be able to go. Even the State Bridge, Bill's aware of it, he worked with us for about 4 months when we were trying to do the bank loan. Even though that was an existing building, we had to get a new FAA approval, and it took us about 3-4 months going back and forth. So there's a lot of regulations involved in there to realistically do 150 rooms is, I don't think it's feasible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Travis?
Travis Horsley, 3303 North Whitney. Rather lighthearted question. The second image on your State of the City photo for the 100% federally covered DOT corridor with a nice tree blocking the trains for Porsche has a picture of a bike with a share the road bike sort of spray mark on the street. Is that considered part of the plans going forward as maybe like a bike lane down the main city?
I think we've got the room over there for that. We've got
Just over there?
Yeah, I don't know if we made the bikes part of that.
Definitely, there is one on Dogwood's project.
Okay.
Dogwood project's gonna have one for sure. I think that one did, but they may have had to take that one out. Check on that one.
Thank you.
You will follow up.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
And
We have the room.
yeah,
Yeah, it's asphalt right now.
great amenity.
Yeah, sure.
The second thing is with response to the previous comment made about public comments. I reached out to Attorney General Sam Owens back on the 7th, and he said the state law does not require public comment. Many local ordinances require such comments, simple 2-sentence response. If it's not in our current ordinances, we do appreciate the ability to be able to come up here and speak, but if that could be sort of codified, ensure perpetuity of public comment into the future, that would be awesome. Thanks.
Any other comments? Mark?
Good evening. Laura Murphy, 201 Colorado Avenue. I just have a green light there. A green light? Yeah. There we go. On the billiard ordinance, I don't have a problem with the Arts Overlay District for the billiards. I understand the way our ordinance is now. No pool tables are allowed?
Correct.
Okay, so I would like to consider that we do allow it throughout the city, but not the 6 tables we would allow in the arts overlay, but to allow basically what people have now, which is 1 or 2, but keep this to the arts overlay for the 6, and not allow it all over, because I'm still confused on where they're gonna put these. But we have a lot of people that have pool tables already that are against our code. So let's legalize them throughout the city and keep the 6 tables, so you don't have to mess with the 75-25 changing and all that stuff. That's just a recommendation that I would like to see happen. And on the next would